In this video, I'm going to share with you 6 tips for you to communicate with more confidence as a leader. Many of the emerging leaders that I work with come to me because they want to feel more confident and self-assured when they talk in one-on-one meetings, team meetings, or present to the whole organization, or even talk to stakeholders and their senior management. So in this video, I'm going to share with you 6 tips you can implement straight away to feel more confident when you have to communicate as a leader. Tip number 1 is preparing your intentions and desired outcome. This is so important. If you have a big presentation, a one-on-one meeting, a feedback conversation, or even a team meeting, it's really important that you take some time to prepare and understand and be really clear about what is your desired outcome of this conversation and what are your intentions with this. Some meetings might require lots of preparation that might take an hour or so, and some just require you to sit there for 5 minutes and be just really clear on what you want to achieve. Preparation for leadership is key, and preparation for confident communication is even more important as a leader. I have several videos on how to prepare for difficult conversations that I've just linked up here, and you can start to explore that in a little bit more depth. Tip number 2 is about being clear whether this is a discussion or a decision. I see it often with my leaders that they share a statement or they share a decision with their team members, and then it starts to turn into this conversation, discussion of people sharing their opinions, not agreeing, challenging, or having other ideas. And then they start to feel a bit lost because they're not quite sure of how to navigate and manage this conversation. And maybe they feel even a bit defeated because they weren't able to bring their point across. And this comes back to preparing and setting your intentions. When you're communicating with a team member or with your team, be really clear on whether you're sharing a decision that you've made, a boundary you've set, or even a goal that you are going to go with, or whether this point is up for discussion and you're actually looking for getting input from the team. Because these are 2 very different things, and they will set you up to communicate differently from the start as well. If it's your decision, it's important that you prepare your statement really clearly and also making it clear that this is not up for discussion. And of course, we want to also have lots of areas where we get input from the team because we want to include them and empower them to make decisions and contribute. So there's room for both situations, but sometimes as a leader, even if you want to be a collaborative leader that includes everyone in lots of conversations, there will be points that you just have to decide and you have to stick with it. So be really clear about, is it a decision or a discussion? Tip number 3 is embrace and prepare feedback conversations. So I said before that preparation really is key, but especially when it comes to feedback, this is where most of the leaders I work with get really self-conscious and insecure because they find it really hard providing negative feedback. They might be scared of hurting the other person, or they might be scared of their reaction and of potential conflict. And so they tend to avoid these conversations. But the key really is you want to prepare. You want to take time to understand what the issue is and what are the consequences. So why does it need to change? There is a video up here I linked to prepare and manage these difficult conversations, and I'm sure this can be really helpful for you as well. You can use something called the SBI framework that will help you to identify situation, behavior, and impact. And the key really is here, these conversations are never as scary as you think. And if you put in the preparation, you will feel more confident with your voice, with what you say, and you won't start shaking or tracking backwards in what you want to say. Tip number 4 is don't pose statements as questions. Especially when we feel a bit unsure, insecure, or nervous, we might not put the right intonation into our sentences. So we might go up at the end of a sentence, which then sounds more like a question, and it really makes it obvious that we're not sure. You want to practice it out loud to go down at the end of the sentence and to make your statement. So instead of saying, "The weather is great," you can say, "The weather is great." Can you see how this makes a difference in what it sounds like? So the key here really is speak it out loud, repeat it, practice it so that when it's time to say this statement, you can state it clearly with lots of confidence and with a big breath behind it. Tip number 5 is to take a breath and slow down. I know what I'm talking about because when I'm nervous or excited, I start to speak really fast and quickly. You might notice it in my videos that I talk quite engaging and fast because this is who I am, this is what I love. But I also know that it's not always for my benefit. Because when I'm nervous, I also talk a lot and I talk really fast. And this then shows that I'm nervous, and then I might stumble over my words or I might forget what I wanted to say and I'm not there with the right intention. So the tip here really is, especially if you're nervous and you want to feel more confident, is to take a deep breath before you speak and to just slow down what you are going to say. Really put emphasis on every word and think about before you speak. And even in between, you can say a sentence or two and then pause before you continue. And this leads me to the last tip, which is do not be afraid of silence. Silence is gold, as they say. And especially in conversation, communication, and when presenting, silence is so powerful. But we often can't stand silence. It might make us feel uncomfortable. For example, if you're providing a feedback conversation and you've said your opening statement, you used the SBI framework, you stated why it's important and what the consequences are and why things need to change, and then crickets. And the other person doesn't say anything. And then you might feel like you're nervous and then you just want to fill the silence and then you talk even more and you go in circles and you keep talking and talking and talking. The problem is you've already said your statement. You made it really clear. By then talking in circles because you get uncomfortable with the silence, you actually taken away the emphasis and the power of what you've just said. When you're backtracking and talking in circles, you won't sound and feel confident at all. So silence is okay. Give them time to think about it. And even in a presentation, as I said before, if you start to get nervous or if you made a mistake or you forgot something, it's okay. Take a breath and then start again or continue where you were at. Don't be afraid of silence. In presenting and talking to your team, silence is powerful because it often gets the other people to actually think and connect the dots as well. So don't be afraid of silence. Silence is important and will often lead to great answers. Even if you pose a question, nobody says something, just wait, let them think. At some point, someone will speak. So these were my 5 tips on how to communicate with more confidence as a leader. Let me know in the comments below which one you found most helpful, and I'm looking forward to talking to you soon.